Hi, and welcome back to the All-Scale Slot Car Den. I'm Dennis. This is part 2 in the series of the amazing Aurora AFX slot cars made from the 70s and early 80s. If you missed part 1, I highly suggest going back and reviewing that. This will be in a playlist, so you can let the playlist run. This will be part 2. Part 1 really examines my personal history with these and where I came to be with them. And the last half of that video, it's I believe a 40-minute long video. The last half of that video starts to get into each of the cars as we're breaking down. We're going through every single car, every single mold and variation. And I just hope you sit back and have fun with them and enjoy them, whether you're very familiar with them. And if you have all of this, if you're a collector and you have all of these cars and all the variations, just sit back and enjoy and bask in just the featuring of this. If you're just starting out, maybe you haven't seen these before, you're younger and you have no experience with them, and you look at them and say, wow, these are really great looking cars, and the history behind them, knowing that they're 50 plus years old, is just amazing, and you'd like to get into them. You can decide on how you like to collect them if you want. You can pick out one of every mold or one of every color, or you want to go all out and find everything you can and go down that rabbit hole. It's fun and it's fine, whichever way you want to do it, whichever way you want to collect. Or if you just want to enjoy watching this video and just say, wow, these are great. I used to have them as a kid, or my dad had them and he'd share them with me, or my grandfather or my uncle or someone or a family friend. We would go over their house and have fun with these cars. I think everybody has a little bit of Aurora AFX history in their blood. And that's why I think this is going to resonate with a lot of people. And I just hope you enjoy it. I want to call to attention all the different variations. That's the main focus of this, and I actually need your help because I'm a collector, but I'm not a real expert. I've learned quite a bit about them over the years, but I'm not a true expert. So any experts out there, if you spot something, if I'm saying something that didn't exist, let me know, and you can add to the conversation. I'll put any comments that add to what I'm missing. I'll add them in the description. So look in the descriptions on each video as we go along in this series, and you'll be able to get a full comprehensive idea of what has been made by the Aurora AFX company. And with that being said, let's continue. I don't want to hold you up any longer. Let's get into it. We're going to start on part 2 here with the Lola T260 Can-Am. This, by the way, this is going to feature all the Can-Am cars that Aurora AFX made. And Aurora made this in 72 to 78, and it made it in different chassis. Now, like I said in the first video, just bear with me on my chassis. I haven't put the correct ones on. That's something that it's in the future for me. So if you see the wheels aren't quite correct, or the chassis isn't quite correct, or it's a little dirty or very dirty, I'm going to get to that. That's down the line. But right now, I just want to show you the bodies mainly we're focusing on, but I will tell you which chassis these cars came on. And again, if I stand corrected, let me know, leave a comment and I'll correct it, and we'll settle that, and it'll all be in the description, all the corrections to the video. In fact, in the first video, I forgot to name the product number of the Porsche 917Ks, and so that's in the description of the first video. Anything I miss here will be on the description of this second video, and it'll be like that as we go along. Also, I failed to mention, and I put it in the description of the first video, if you have any blue from the Aurora AFX cars, it's probably a good idea not to remove the body from the chassis, because blue has a tendency to become very brittle. These are many years old now. The rest of the cars, not so much, but always be very careful when you do it. You should only have to do it if you're giving it a squirt of oil between the gears on the top. They're pancake motors. So other than that, I would suggest to not try to remove the bodies from the cars if you don't have to. And if you do, just be very careful, but especially not those blue. All right, moving forward. Now, this came with the originally with the AFX, which is now called the Magna Traction chassis, um, and the part number was 1767. And then later on, they transitioned to Magna Traction chassis on their cars, and the part number changed to 1907 for Magna Traction, but it was the same car. Now, the Lola T260 Can-Am, came with this white with red and black stripes and the L&M stickers on it. And sometimes, the stickers will be faded. You might not have them at all. The front part here might be broken. You might have a little damage here, missing part of that exhaust and stuff. And like on this one, the wing glued on. And by the way, many of these cars are from my own personal collection when I was a kid and growing up, and we raced these cars, and so there's damage to them. So the cars that I actually raced and enjoyed have damage, and I'm fine with it. It's funny because if I collect a car, in more recent years, any cars I've collected, I look for pristine as possible. I don't need it to be boxed or still in his band or anything like that. But I just looked for as little damage as possible because they did make many of these, and that's the great thing about these. If you're starting to collect these, that you have a great chance to enjoy most of these. They're pretty widely available still, but I suspect as time goes on, more and more people are getting back into this hobby, and they're going to be zapping up all these cars and all the nice ones for themselves. So I highly suggest at this point, if you're into this, to start your collection, get it rolling, check out all the cars that are featured in this series of videos, and just go out and get the ones that you really like and start there, and then you could build up further if you like, but at least go and find the ones that you really like. And so that's the story with that. And also, if I didn't mention that this wing usually is missing, or this roll bar feature and the engine behind the driver usually missing, driver's head missing. Those are things to look for, and those are common faults of the cars that you find today. All right, moving on, continuing with this Lola T260. Here's a different variation of it, a different version of it, and this is the number 39, and it's this yellow, blue, green, and white with the white driver. And this came as Ultra 5. It was part number 3008 in the Ultra 5. And we'll get into the chassis afterwards, but like I said, this is mainly to get into the bodies and to really talk about the different bodies available. And damage here, as you can imagine, those exhausts broken off, missing stickers, missing wing, missing side stickers, and same as the other with all that structure behind the driver and even his head. So that's another Lola. There was another variation of this, which was very similar to this. It was yellow, blue, green, white, and green with an orange driver, where this one had the white driver. It has an orange driver. So if you find something like that, you'll see the different variation that we're talking about in these cars. All right, so now let's go on to the next style of car, and this is it's called the Auto World McLaren. Don't confuse that with the Auto World slot car company from, round 2 or anything. It's the Auto World McLaren XLR Can-Am, and this was made from 71 to 74, and it was made as an original AFX chassis, which is now known as the non-Magna Traction, but at the time they didn't know there will be a Magna Traction, so it was just called the A/FX. And like I may have said in the first video, if you do have an AFX chassis, look over here and look for the 1970 or 71 stamped date there, or even one with the line through it underneath that AFX, and I believe that's the early 1972 chassis. And those are very valuable, especially 70 and 71. and just give a glimpse under all your AFX cars, especially if they're these A/FX original chassis, to make sure you don't have a dated one, because that's valuable. All right, so as far as this McLaren XLR came as this number 54 in orange, and it has a gray slot car track going around the whole car, and it has a wing, and that white wing is removable, usually lost but easily replaceable, and as far as the driver's head too. And this is a beautiful car, beautiful condition, and one example of the McLaren. And here's a different, oh, by the way, this came with this gray track, this slot car track going around, and it came without a wing. And you'll know if a wing's supposed to be there. There'll be two holes where the wing supports are in the body, and if there's not those two holes, then you know that never came with the wing. So there's that version of it too. And this was actually, that slot car track, this is the Oscar Kowaleski car. And he was, I believe he was the owner of the Auto World company at the time, and or whatever it was called. And he was promoting slot cars, and he was driving. And so he painted his car up to feature this slot car track. Those were slot cars going around a track. And this is a very special car. And he did excellent things for this, for the hobby. And so now, oh, I should say, I failed to mention, these also came in as a Screecher chassis. In addition, the 1752 was an AFX or Screecher chassis. And McLaren's had variations in the size of the 54. These two are similar here, but there are different variations in the sizes of the 54. And some had no 54 on it, as this, no 54 on the sides. So you see the difference there. And that track could be black or gray. And you could see the difference there in the black or the gray track. That's not faded. That's difference in variation. That's the variation of this car. And there could be detailing on the back or no detailing. You see how that is right there. And this is not painted there. So that's another variation of these cars. And as you see here, this is the orange with the black track and without the wing. And you can see there's no holes there for provisions for that wing. And that's the difference in these cars. And so there's a lot to look for, and you could decide which one you like better. You like it without the wing? You like it with the wing? It's available for you. A little hunting and searching, and you should be able to find these cars. And now that black track version also came with a wing, in case you're interested. So you have them with wings, without wings, orange track, black track. And now we have the yellow number 54, and it's without the track at all. So where we had a track there that was black or yellow, this or gray, this has no track going around it, no slot car track. And this came with the wing, and you could see how that version has the painted rear there. And I'd like to know if any of these variations do exist, like say, did this come without a wing? And, you know, this has the numbers on the side. Did the yellow number 54 come without? If you know that for a fact, leave a comment and we'll adjust that. And look in the description below if somebody did leave a comment, or we can read through the comments if you like, and you can find out. And we'll get that down. Like I had mentioned, I'd like for this to be very comprehensive, to include everything in it and see what's all available and do these cars justice. All right, next up, we have the number 54 in blue. And that's a beautiful blue. But like I said, do not remove it from the chassis unless you have to. And this came with no track and with the wing. And you see the numbers, and that was painted details in the back there. That's a beautiful, beautiful car. Really love this car. All right, and now here's something a little different. And this is the 54 and it's blue, and it's got a black track, and it's got a lime green driver suit there with lime green behind the numbers, and no side numbers here, and no wing. And you could see no provisions for the wing, and not painted details. So this one's pretty unique, but can be found with a little bit of soul searching, and a great car for your collection. And there was also, as like in this is a yellow. There was a translucent yellow with no track and with the wing. So very similar to this, but in a translucent yellow color. For me, it's very difficult seeing what's actually yellow or translucent yellow or orange or translucent orange. I'm going to have to go to a slot car show and see for myself. It's very hard to see it in photos, in lighting. So if you're collecting that, be very careful on what people might claim is something, but when you get it, it's not, because nobody really knows for sure until they know exactly what they're looking for. Just a heads up on that. And also, now this is going to be my first car that I want to show you, that be careful what to look for in different other brands of slot cars that pay tribute really to the Aurora AFX cars. And this is the number 7 in dark orange with the blue stripe. And this is not an AFX, and I'll tell you in a minute why it's not and how you'll be able to tell. It's very, very, very similar. And this was an Auto World car, and this is readily available. You could find this. It's not expensive at all. The actual car from AFX is very rare and very hard to find. And if you find that, hold on to it, because not many of them go around. And this was actually for Peter Revson, who was enlisted by the AFX company. They signed him on to, he was a race car driver, a very popular and famous one. And AFX signed him on to be a spokesman, and they put his images on the boxes of race sets. They had this car in his name, and everything was all good and fine and dandy until one day he was practicing. I think it was the South African Grand Prix, and somewhere in the early 70s, maybe 73, 74, and he crashed in practice and was killed. And AFX, after that, they had his image on all the boxes and his names and everything, and they had to cover those up with stickers. And it was a disaster for them, and it was terrible. I actually remember that because I was in school. I think I was in 3rd or 4th grade, and we had, remember when you had show and tell? You would cut out a newspaper article, and you have to stand in front of the class and do a little show and tell on the article. Well, mine was of this, and I can still remember the headline of the newspaper. It was the New York Daily News, and it said, Playboy driver killed in crash. And I cut that out, and I had to describe everything about what happened in that article to the class, and that always stays with me. So this is a very special car to me. Again, I don't have the original. This is what to look out for in a knockoff version. And you see right there, you see that little hump there in front of the driver. I guess that's, I'm not sure if that's supposed to be the windshield or whatever's going on there. That little blue hump. Well, in the Aurora AFX, the original version to look for, that would be orange right there in front of the driver. If you see it this way, you could see the orange. It's orange this way, but looking this way, see, hopefully this can pick it up, where that's blue, that little hump, that would be orange. And then you know you're working with the real deal. But as always, before you spend a lot of money on these cars, and some of them can be very, very pricey, do your due diligence. Make sure, get it from a reputable seller, dealer, friend, whoever that you know. They know what they're talking about, because these cars are very easily reproduced, copied. Like I said, Auto World did this as a tribute. So, you know, they made sure that they did some sort of variation in this. But if somebody's reproducing these for evil, sinister ways, they're going to try to make this as near faultless as possible to the original. So be very careful if you're going to spend, no matter how much you want to spend on it. If you can only afford a $50 car, do your due diligence on a $50 car. If you can afford cars up to $500 and you see a car that's $501, do your due diligence on that, because you don't want to throw out your hard-earned money on a scammer. So be very careful. The lesser end cars, there's usually not a problem. It's only cars that get over into the pricey areas that, and I'm sure as time goes by, people are going to try more sinister ways to copy these cars. So just be very careful. Know what to look for. Take this video as a starter and go from there. Okay. All right. That'll do it for that. Let's get into the Porsche. Let's move these up a little bit so we can have some space here. Okay, we're going to the Porsche 510K, a Can-Am car. And this one, you could see that shine, beautiful, shiny gold chrome. Now, this was made from 1973 to 78, and this had various chassis underneath it, starting off with the 1786, the AFX, went to the 1915 Magna Traction, then 1743 as a G+, and 3002 in Ultra 5. So this was the number 4 in gold chrome. Beautiful. And this was actually Super Magna Traction. It was 1105 part number. And the valance in the front is often broken. And you see those supports could be broken, or the whole thing broken completely. That wing, as usual, I guess I shouldn't keep talking about wings with these cars, because these can be damaged, broken, missing totally. And so that's, you know what to look for. And of course the supports here behind the driver and the engine and his head could be broken. So this is this beautiful chrome, shiny blue chrome car, this gold car. This next Porsche 510K is this number 6. White, blue, maroon, and yellow Auto World, the original Auto World, the Oscar Kowaleski Auto World, with the yellow driver and a maroon stripe spoiler. See that? And this was 3002 part number as an Ultra 5. And as you see here, there's no numbers on this car. There are no numbers on this car. So there are probably stickers that were lost over time. But that would be the number 6. And here, as opposed to this one, it's basically the same. But you see that spoiler is lighter. It's got a red stripe instead of the maroon stripe. And it's got an orange driver instead of the yellow driver. And it's got its sticker number 6, where this may have come without the stickers, may have come without the 6s. That could be a variation, but then again, who knows? So if you know for sure, if this came like this, leave a comment. I'd love to hear. But you could see the different variations in this car itself. And now we get to this white number 6 with the red and black stripe and with the L&M, and you could see how it's different from this previous one that we were looking at, although it's another L&M car. But this came without the center grille support. See right in the middle there? Sometimes it would have the center grille support. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's broken, so be careful. And it has deep air vents. You see how deep those air vents are as opposed to these shallow air vents. So you see the difference in variations there. And this ran the gamut of the not having the center grille support, having it, flat air vents, deep air vents. And these variations may apply to all of the Porsche 510K Can-Ams. So leave a comment if you know that for a fact that they do apply to every single one. And also if you have this wing, this top part of it right here, that back part sometimes is broken off. Something to look for if you have the wing at all. And you can see the numbers. And this is reproduced a lot. A lot of modern day stickers, reproduction stickers are used for these. So be wary of that too if you want to have an original. All right. And that also came without the L&M. Without the L&M. So that's a different variation of that as well. Now we get to the number 6, this yellow and white stripes. And this came without the center grille support and deep air vents. And as you see, it came with the Porsche and Audi stickers or without the Porsche and Audi stickers. And that's a beautiful red, beautiful car. All right, next up is the number 5, this white with green and blue stripes, the Sunoco car. Very nice car. And you could see grille support, no center grille support. Be careful that that's even not there at all. That means it's broken. And this is the number 5. There could be reproduction stickers, so watch out for that. And watch the wing and everything behind the driver, including his head. Beautiful. And here's one that from my childhood that really got beat up and damaged a lot. As you could see, this is what it looks like when it has no wing. And I need to upgrade this eventually. And this is blue and yellow, and this is a Sunoco car. If it had the wing, you would know that. And it had the yellow or yellow and red stripes. And that's the end of that. And this also, this car came as a number 4, an orange with yellow and white stripes with the Sunoco, or the number 7 and the yellow with blue and black stripes with the Sunoco. And that was more of a translucent color on that one. May have come both yellow and translucent yellow. So leave a comment, please. All right, now we get to the Porsche 917-10 Can-Ams. And this first one here, very, very beautiful. This was made from 1974 to 79, and it was part number 1747 in AFX, transitioned to 1921 in Magna Traction. And here we have the lovely number 11, white, blue, green, and yellow Hoyer Goodyear car with the Aurora wing on it. And this also came as a 3001 part number in Ultra 5. And that's a very, very beautiful car. That was from my Ultra 5 set that I had. That didn't really get too much usage, but some beautiful cars in there nonetheless. And then we get to this Porsche 917-10, the number 16 in white with the blue and red stripes. And it has a blue driver in a black seat and the RC stickers, and it has the squared front end. You see how that's squared on the ends. And that's important to know. And you could see this wing You can put a little piece of tape or glue, however you want to do it. I just leave mine as it is, but that happens to these wings over time. Lucky to just have them. The sticker's still there. And this came in different variations of a blue driver in a white seat, a silver driver in a black seat, or a silver driver in a white seat. And some of these RC stickers were on promo sheets that when users bought the set, they can apply the stickers on. And the sticker sheets had the number 16 and the number 23. But it seems like the 16 is far, far more widely available than the 23. It's very, very difficult to find a 23 version. But if those were on the sticker sheets, maybe that wasn't so. In most cases that they did offer the 23 sticker. And I don't know what the odds were that everybody elected to put a 16 on. Not many 23s going around out there. So if you do know more of that story, I'd love to hear about that. So that's the 16 with the square front end. And you can see that driver and seat, all the different variations we talked about. And here's the same car, similar car I should say. It's the 16 and it's got the round front end. See that rounded off front end. And you can see that driver is different in there. And that's it's a silver driver in a white seat. And that also came with the silver driver in a black seat, blue driver in a white seat, blue driver in a black seat. Different variations, same car. So now you know the fun that you can have looking for these cars, collecting what you like, collecting what you enjoy. And as we were saying before, here's the 23 version of that. You know, watch out for reproduction stickers. Make sure you buy from a reputable seller, that they know what they're talking about. They didn't just apply other reproduction decals on it, especially when it comes to the 23. And this was the Can-Am legend, Charlie Kemp. This was his car, and beautiful representation of it. And this ran the whole gamut of the drivers, the silver driver in the white seat, the silver driver and the black seat, and blue driver with the white seat and blue driver with the black seat, and also had the different variations of the square or round front end, as in the 16. So, and like I said, when I collect these, I like to get a variation kind of across the board of the variations. Like I don't need all of them. I'd like to get an experience of what each one was. You know, we have a blue driver, and we have a white seat, and we have a silver driver. So I get to enjoy the different, just seeing the different variations in their existence without having to actually collect all of them. And maybe one day I will, but I doubt it. I have enough as it is and enough on my plate that I think I'm going to stop where I'm at. If I don't have a particular car I'm still looking for, or maybe to upgrade some, as you've seen before. But I'd like to have at least one version across the board, like the square or the round front end in these. It's fine with me. You could take this as far as you like to go with it and enjoy it as in whichever way you like. But those do exist in those variations. Now we come to the Shadow, the Can-Am. And we get to this very, very, very popular car, very well-known car, this number 101, this Black Shadow. And this came with this a short spoiler and thick struts and round lettering on that Shadow. It's more compact, and I'll show you there's a different variation of that. Get that wing on correct. I'll fix it later. But this is the Shadow. If you have the MR slot car Shadow, you know what these are all about. Beautiful cars. Started here with the AFX, Aurora AFX. And here's another variation of that same Shadow. And this has a taller spoiler. See the difference? Pretend that's that's on right. I don't want to. I'll try my hardest to get that even there. But that's a taller spoiler and thin or thick struts holding those up. And This has like an elongated, you see that word shadow? Even though the size is the same of that whole wing, everything about this car is the same, that shadow is a little elongated compared to this one. And I think an easier way to tell, because they're very difficult to tell if you see them in pictures, is the shadow on this one, this short and stubby one, that O, that last O there next to the W at the end, is more rounded, where you see that O is elongated. And that's an easier way to tell, to spot which version, if you're trying to collect both of those versions. And again, there's different wing heights to all these shadows that we're showing you here as we get more further into the shadow. And now we get to the number 3, this white, yellow, orange, and red. And this came as 1744 in G+, or also 3007 in Ultra 5. Had the tall spoiler or short spoiler. Beautiful car. Be wary of all the stickers that may or may not be there, or the wing that may or not be there, or the driver's helmet. Very, very beautiful car. And now here's one that's a little bit more difficult to find. And this was the number 3 with the black, yellow, orange, and red. And that came as 1744 in G+, 3007 in Ultra 5, and had the tall spoiler and the short spoiler. And these are the stickers. You see that blue driver, and you can see the difference in color with that black in the middle part as opposed to the white on the previous one. Oh, don't want to attract them together. And now we get to this 3, and it's white, yellow, and orange. And this came as 3007 in Ultra 5. With the tall spoiler, blue driver, short spoiler, blue driver, tall spoiler, orange driver, or short spoiler, orange driver. So some variations within this car. And you could see the difference in coloring of these very similar cars. And even within them, there's variations. So beautiful, beautiful cars. And the last shadow of the bunch came in this number 3 gold chrome. The chrome is beautiful, and with the red stripe. And this was 1106 in super magnet traction. And I believe this came only in the tall spoiler. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it only came in the tall spoiler version. Beautiful car. And there is one more shadow. It's the number 3, and it's blue, white, and red. It was the 1784 in G+, and I believe that also only came with the tall spoiler only, and that one is extremely hard to find. And another word of caution, if you do find that, make sure you buy it from a reputable person. You know the history, who knows the history of it, so you're not getting scammed, because if you're spending any hard-earned money, be very careful. Next car is a Ferrari 612 Can-Am. And this one's a very common car. It's 1751 in the original AFX chassis. I'm sorry, it's 1732 in the G Plus chassis. And it ran from 71 to 74. Common thing to look out for are these rear view mirrors are usually missing. Different parts usually missing. Just be very careful what you're getting. But it's a very common car, easy to pick up. And this came as the number 2 in red, yellow stripe with silver. And it came with red painted tail lights and a silver exhaust, or unpainted tail lights and a silver exhaust, or red painted tail lights and a black exhaust, and unpainted tail lights and a black exhaust. I said red painted tail lights and a black exhaust, and unpainted tail lights and a black exhaust. So there's 4 different variations of this very same car. Things to look out for, and things to watch out for: that roll bar behind the driver, his head in general, and the rear view mirrors and the engine and the exhaust pipes. Very, very beautiful car. So you see what I mean about just this one. You think, oh, they only made this one Ferrari 612 Can-Am, but no, there's 4 at least different variations. And now we come to the last car in the series. It's another Ferrari. It's the Ferrari 612 Can-Am. And this was 1751 in the original AFX chassis. And this came with these in this lovely blue, this number 15, with the white numbers, with the wing spoiler, and the nose and the tail lights are painted. See, these are blue, and these can have the nose or the tail lights unpainted. So there's two different variations of this beautiful blue car. And also this Ferrari 612 came in red with the white numbers. And it had the wing, number 15 on the sides. Yes, blue has 15 on the sides. And this can have no number 15 on the sides. It would just be plain on the sides. And this also came without the wing. So some variations on these. And that leads us to the number 15 in yellow with purple numbers and the purple driver. Lavender, whatever that color is there. And this came with the wing and the 15 on the sides. This is a very, very beautiful car. A lot of these, I don't know how they're translating into the video, but they look beautiful in real life. Beautiful. And that's the 15 with the purple. And there's also the number 15 Ferrari 612 Can-Am with yellow with red numbers and driver suit there. And this came without the wing, and this came in a Screecher chassis. So this is the only chassis that fits on mine. There's a post below this chassis on the body that it won't allow anything else to fit. It's supposed to be on an AFX, original AFX chassis, but I can't get one of those to fit. I don't know if it's just this car, but I believe this came as only a Screecher because that's all that fits. So correct me if I'm wrong, correct me if I have a one-off here, but that's what we have, and you could see the different variations there. So there you have it. Thank you for staying along here, for watching episode 2 in the Aurora AFX series. Stay tuned for the next one. We're going to go through more cars. We're going to do it until we're all done. And thank you for watching, and I hope you're enjoying it. And like I said, leave a comment. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm no expert. I'm doing this out of the love of the hobby and these cars, and I'm enjoying myself doing it. So I hope you are too. And thank you so much, and have a great day.